Hey, Red. We're not gonna get away with this, are we? Come on, pull. There. Together again. Sort of.
Greetings and salutations, my waifus and husbandos. Technology has gotten to a frightening point in our lives. One day we're able to access a sprawling network of web directories and addresses, able to connect with others instantly in real time. And the next day, some guy I went to high school with is blowing up my social media with his insights on the moral and philosophical implications of an open relationship between Bigfoot, Nessie, and the Roswell alien. Being a naturally studious mind, I decided to investigate the issue further, only to stumble across some very lemony fresh fan fiction written by aforementioned disgruntled high school friend in which he inseminates himself into this already fraught relationship. I couldn't undo the things I saw and read that day, no matter what I tried, and I tried everything. My only hope for true solace is the sweet and gentle grasp of the inevitable apocalypse. Thanks, Obama. I played the game Transistor recently, and it made my heart go doki doki. Developed and published by Supergiant Games, this top-down isometric hack-and-slash RTS serves as a progenitor to Supergiant's eventual magnum opus, Hades. So if at any point you think, "Oh, wow, this looks just like Hades," well, now you know why. I haven't actually played Hades myself, so I can't really comment on any similarities as far as the gameplay is concerned. But as for the art design, it's clear there were shared minds in the process. But don't let the visual similarities fool you. Transistor is the middle child of Supergiant's ever-growing catalog, so it has plenty of personality to appreciate. In the same way that literary scholars appreciated Jacques Derrida's theory of deconstruction as nothing more than an adorable little novelty. But I digress. You play as Red, a successful and prodigal singer who encounters an ambiguously familiar man on the roof of a theater. After mysteriously losing her voice, she removes a sword embedded in the man, and thus begins her journey of revenge and justice against a force she cannot yet conceptualize. With her newfound narrator slash confidant slash weapon of mass destruction, she slashes and hashes her way through an army of robots called the Process. The Process is controlled by a nefarious cabal of high-ranking officials called the Camerata. The Camerata consists of Sybil Rees, Grant and Asher Kendall, and Royce Brackett. These four individuals serve as the main antagonists for Red as she goes on a robot murder rampage through the high towers of the city of Cloudbank. The story is told through narration, which I was a little skeptical about at first. Probably the most important thing to consider when you tell a story this way in a video game is the voice actors. There are only 5 voice actors credited in this game, one of which has only a single line of dialogue. If you're going to tell your story primarily through one voice, then it better be a voice you actually want to listen to. I guess technically the game is told through 3 voices, but the primary voice you hear is the Transistor himself. And I can say that I did enjoy the voice acting overall. The only thing that really took me out of it was the voice actor portraying Royce Brackett, Sunkrish Bala, sounded a lot like Indian Owen Wilson in his performance. I don't know about you guys, but I can't really picture Owen Wilson as an evil scientist who wants to reset the world and have it taken over by robots. I don't get it.
Wayne can make just about anything happen.
Wow.
I like his voice. He sounds like Owen Wilson.
You asked for it.
Wow.
You got
It can make a bridge if it wanted.
To Fairview.
Wow.
The game's mechanics are a bit of an amalgamation. On the surface, it's just another RTS. But is it? No. It's not. After about 5 minutes into the game, you'll realize the mechanics are far more intricate than previously thought. You could run around smashing buttons like a doofus and hope they hit, or you can tap into that Sigma male grind set and use the turn mechanic. By doing this, you freeze time and are given a set amount of space and parameters to plan your attack. Once you use all the abilities you can and utilize your movement speed, you can execute this plan and watch it unfold in real time. But do be careful, because you'll have to wait roughly 3 to 5 seconds before you can use the turn mechanic again. That may not seem like much, but as you get further into the game, that turn meter can feel like it takes an eternity to refill. And don't get complacent with your turn phase either, because there are enemies later on in the game that can disrupt your turn and take that cooldown with it. Now that we have a basic understanding of the turn mechanic, let's break down a simple attack strategy. For this example, we'll be looking at the second agent battle. I took a pretty standard recursive build: Void with Crash and Tap, Jaunt, Pull with Purge, and Mask, rounding it all out with Ping as my passive. Backstabbing always does extra damage, so we're going for max output here. Once your Walmart brand clone appears, you want to be the first to go into turn. If the clone beats you to it, just stay calm and try to get out of the way of whatever shit they throw at you. Once you have the upper hand, spam the fuck out of this move. Either walk or jaunt behind the target, throw down a couple voids, pull from behind, and always make sure you have enough room left for mask so you can vanish without a trace. And then do this over and over and over again until you slaughter everything in your path. If you want to make things really unfair during your recursive run, take this build and one-shot just about every single enemy you face. Got it? Good. Good. Because now we have to take a look at your abilities. As you level up, you can acquire new abilities and unlocks to help you on your quest for revenge and justice. Each ability has 3 functions: an active function, an augmented function, and a passive function. On its own, an ability can be activated to perform an action, but you can also socket other abilities to augment it. Every combination of abilities has a unique function, highly encouraging players to try out as many as possible. And then finally, we have the passive function that adds flat bonuses to red. There are also limiters that are available, but much like the fleeces in Cult of the Lamb, they really serve no other purpose than to add debuffs to the player. They try to incentivize you by giving you a bonus percentage of experience gained after each fight, but come on, 2%? 4%? The maximum bonus XP is only 32%. Like, what the fuck is the point? To be fair, you can only reach level 30 by using limiters. But, I mean, that's only if you want to hit level 30. You can plow through the base game and the recursive run just fine without them, so if you really want to hit level 30, then go on ahead, but otherwise don't bother. There's not actually an achievement for reaching level 30, at least not on Steam, so I guess do with that information as you will. And speaking of fulfilling experiences, this game has a New Game Plus! Which is a huge plus if you want to mow down robots like it's your fucking job. One of my big complaints about the game is that it's actually pretty easy. If I'm being completely honest, your first run will probably be a cakewalk, and your recursive run will be a war crime. The game has one set difficulty, and the enemies are all very predictable and easily maneuvered. As you get further into the game, the enemies do get stronger and gain new abilities to make your life a little more difficult, but they're completely manageable. That is, until you fight the humans and the hair. These greasy-ass motherfuckers are the most intolerable enemies in the entire game. They're the only enemies in the game that actually killed me. That's another thing. When your hit points are reduced to 0, you don't actually die. Instead, you lose your abilities one at a time until you have nothing left to fight with. This actually sucks ass because they always take your favorite ability away first. You know me, I love my dashes in video games. You give me a dash and I'm gonna fuck that dash. I'm gonna use it every chance I possibly can. But every single time I died, they took away Jaunt! What a bunch of assholes! A word of advice, once you make it back down to the process-infested Fairview district, get rid of Jaunt and pivot your build for full damage. For reference, this is the build I went for when I beat Royce for the first time. There are thousands upon thousands of ability combinations to experiment with, so just find a style that you like and stick with it. 99% of the time, you can make it through the entire game with just one build. You know, unless you die. But where Transistor shines its brightest is in its soundtrack. The score for this game is one of the best I've ever heard. Transistor's OST is just pure bliss. From lightly distorted jazzy guitar textures to electrifying synth, From thumping bass to outright noise rock, this OST has something for everyone. If you want to hear some of my favorite tracks that I think best represents the game as a whole, check out Old Friends, The Spine, Hype Map, and Sandbox. God damn, I love this soundtrack. Oh, God, it gets me going. The theme of this game is fairly straightforward, the loss of humanity. But it's not really that simple, is it? If anything, the game's theme is the loss of oneself, and corny and cliched as it is, love. Even with the limited information you're given about the Transistor himself, you believe him when he says that he loves you and that he wants to see you again and that he'll always be with you. You watch him come to terms with the fact that his body is lost forever and he no longer has control over any part of his life anymore. In the beginning, he tells you to order the seafood pizza for dinner, still with some sliver of hope that things could just go back to normal. And by the time he gets back to your apartment, he starts to make more casual remarks about how, well, he couldn't eat the pizza even if he wanted to. At points, it doesn't feel like you're telling Red's story. It feels like you're telling the Transistor story. It makes you question what it means to be human, and to what extent could you still be yourself anymore? What lengths would you go to be with the person you love? I'm not crying, you're crying. I know who I am, god damn it. I'm not having a crisis of identity, right? Right? Transistor is a rarity of a game, one that only comes around when the stars align in that perfect position. I really think this game should get a remaster in 4K because the resolution only goes up to 1920 by 1200 because, you know, why not? There's also a known bug on PC where the game will automatically reduce your resolution quality if you alt-tab, so, you know, maybe that's something that could be fixed in the future too, just saying. But overall, my enjoyment of this game can't be understated. I usually don't like going back and playing through games again immediately after I beat them, even if it's to play a new game plus or if the highest possible difficulty is locked until you beat the game once. Which is something I fucking hate more than anything else, by the way. Game devs, stop being fucking cowards and just give me the hard mode right off the bat. I hate you. But with Transistor, I found the recursive run to be a very satisfying gaming experience. It really makes you feel fucking swole. You bulldoze your way through fights like it's Thanksgiving dinner. This is a very short game. I beat the base game in about 6 hours and the recursive run only took around 4 hours. So if you want a game that encourages creative combat tactics and strategies, has an immaculate soundtrack, and is a low time investment, you literally can't go wrong with Transistor. I stream this game on Twitch, twitch.tv/animegirlwaifu, where I stream every day, except for the days that I don't. This is Tylo, hoping you have a wonderful rest of your morning, day, and evening. Thank you, and goodbye.